Welcome to the High Value Sales Show of Eversprint.com. I'm Malcolm Louie, the managing member of Eversprint, and today we're speaking with Theron Kabrich, the CEO of San Francisco Art Exchange, a business that sells and displays iconographic art and photography. Welcome to the call, Theron.
Thanks for having me.
Theron, you grew your company's revenue from $1.9 million in 2014 to $4.2 million in 2017, a 121% increase, and now you're on track to hit around $3.2 million in 2018. What were the three biggest drivers that grew your business from $1.9 million in 2014 to $4.2 million in 2017?
Passion, curiosity, and the need to do something that's not been done before.
Can you share how those factors drove your sales and increased your sales?
Well, sales come from strong relationships, I think. Sales, the relationships with sources, the relationships with customers who buy from you. And so the passion that we have is focused on what we've been building here and those people that have built it with us. Our customers, our artists, our photographers, our relationships in Hollywood and the music industry invigorates our passion to want to do what we do as an adventure, I guess you could say. Curiosity is something that sort of causes one to muse over what hasn't been done before and envision what that might be. And doing something that no one has done before, it's not an arbitrary concept, but something that simply because nobody's done it before does not mean that we can't do it if it fits, if it sort of did the dictates of curiosity and passion tell us to do so. So it's the idea of doing something that no one has done before as a way to honor the muse of those other two items and try to make something out of that new opportunity.
Theron, can you share what marketing and sales efforts you did over the past few years? Was there any sort of advertising? Were you cold calling? Were you networking? How did you actually find the people to do the transactions?
Well, we've been for a long time. We have several different ways to reach out to people. Obviously, advertising is one of those things that is something we employ. We've come to almost a science down to what works and what doesn't. So after doing this for years, you sort of make decisions about what's the proper channel for advertising and what's a waste of time or waste of money. So we've been pretty surgical about how we advertise the marketplace. A lot of people find us, I mentioned, a lot of things we do or what we represent are in effect search terms. And so we get a lot of people hit our website and contact us based on who we represent. Third, we do a lot of events, PR, a lot of PR. We had a publicist. Our publicist is Jensen Communications. They represent Carlos Santana and Crosby, Stills and Nash, and so long-standing friendship with Jensen Communications over the past 20 years. In recent times, the sales successes we've had some large transactions that have occurred as a result of inbound from press. We did if you're familiar with Pink Floyd's The Wall, are you familiar with that film?
I've never watched the film, but Pink Floyd and The Wall, yeah, I've heard that.
So there's a film that came out when the album was recorded called The Wall. And it relied at times on animation. And the artwork for that animation was produced by an artist by the name of Gerald Scarf. And Gerald had never sold his work before and had approached us. We had come into contact with him and discussed his work. And since he had never sold any of the artwork from The Wall, we did an exhibition. We did a press release. It ran around the world. It was a big Times Square image, and within probably a 48-hour period, we had about 2,000 inquiries about The Wall artwork. And within another 48 hours, we'd consummated about $2.5 million in artwork from The Wall, based on people that had never known we existed. let alone were clients. So that's one of the things we did because we have a lot of high-profile things that we do. When we do press releases on certain things, it gets a great deal of attention. So PR is very important, especially with the high-profile things we do.
Can you share with us what you've been doing on an online marketing front? Have you done advertisements online to showcase your pieces and generate traffic?
They did keywords for a period of time, and pay per click and that sort of thing. We did that for a while. I wasn't as convinced of the activity of that. We are getting a lot of activity through social media. However, Facebook has been a good friend of ours. Instagram is very good for us, and so as far as online marketing is concerned, we've got initiatives scheduled for next year, but we haven't done a lot of that this year. At the moment we're in the design of a brand new website. When that site goes up, it's a new platform, e-commerce platform that's much better than where we've been before. Then we will be more aggressive on marketing because we'll have a better place to bring people to when we have that new site launch.
Right. Any plans? What are your initiatives to bring more traffic to the site once it's completed?
Well, I'm looking at several different initiatives. We're talking about certainly more aggressive online marketing, but even more so develop a broader group of affiliates, relationships with people who have an affinity for what we do, clients of ours, fans, other people that we know, so to broaden the market by reaching out to people that are influencers in their own space, and further advertising with relationships we have in the publishing business. So we may end up doing a number of different things that related to publishers with whom we have liaison. Right.
Okay. Now, in terms of being more aggressive on online marketing, any thoughts on how you're going to do that? Is it going to be you're going to dip your toes again in the pay-per-click market? Are you going to?
I will. I've got several different entities that are, it's been the past 10 years. There's been so much evolution in that space, advertising online, and I'm thinking that what I may want to do is I'd like to explore. I'm not a big believer in pay-per-clicks, only because maybe I'm atypical. But when I am searching for something, the last links I hit are actually the ads because I'm more interested in the organic. So the SEO space is much more interesting to me because the SEO has an organic component where more people come on their terms rather than me pitching them. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't do a pay-per-click, but only if I could get a visual to go with that click space. In other words, text doesn't work for me as far as that's concerned. I'm more likely to have a pay-per-click if I can put one of my images in connection with that click mechanism than a search return that is just text. SEO
Right.
is my big driver. SEO for 2019 is where it's at as far as I'm concerned when our new site launches.
Right. When will your new site go live?
That's a $64 million question, but I would have to say probably February, just as every project sort of has you blow past the deadline. We blow past deadlines like crazy, but now we're pretty solid. I think February is going to be when we launch at sfae.com.
Right. Now, you said it would be an e-commerce site. So what sort of things will you be selling? It'd be both your low-ticket price items as well as your super expensive items, or
we'd have everything, anything that could be put in the shopping cart, and anything you can purchase in my gallery in downtown San Francisco would be purchasable online, with the exception of certain extremely high-ticket things that require more personal service to somebody that might want to, say, do a $100,000 transaction, $500,000 transaction. Typically, you're not going to get a cart that's going to take that. Maybe not now, maybe not in 2018, maybe in 2025. That's going to be pretty consistent in the art space. But at the moment, I'm looking at anything from a few $100 to $5,000 to $10,000 to $20,000. Our median price, the price range we generally operate in, our products sell between $2,000 to $5,000, but it's not unusual to do $15,000 to $25,000 transactions in any given month. So I think talking to our audience in an e-commerce platform, I'd be very comfortable with that. And we have done $10,000 transactions on our current e-commerce platform. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to basically sell everything we sell in this gallery online.
Right. It would be cool the day when you do a $500,000 transaction through your platform.
That's going to be one of those things I look forward to. We have done transactions up to $100,000 on eBay just as an experiment. But I think the idea is coming, and I think it's going to come much more quickly than a lot of people think.
Yeah. What were your takeaways from your eBay experiment?
One of the takeaways is you don't get it if you don't try it.
Right.
And sure. That's really the big one. You don't prejudge something just because, again, you've never done it before. You basically get, if you don't have anything to lose, why not try it?
Yeah.
So I'm not a big believer in eBay for high ticket things. It just, but that was an interesting experiment, and it was hard to believe at first when it hit. We just said somebody made a mistake here. They put an extra 2 zeros on the deal.
Okay. So it's an auction style. People were bidding up for a piece of artwork on eBay.
Yeah, and somebody just said, I'll take it.
Okay, so you had a buy it now price at $100,000.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. So every time I sell stuff on eBay and I have a buy it now price and someone grabs it, I always feel that I underpriced it.
Yeah, but you can't look back.
That's true too.
You got to make it a matter of priority.
Yeah, it would have been neat if you let it go to see how high it might have ran.
Well, the other thing, as all auctions work, you put something up there with bidding, and if nobody bids high enough to make it worth buying, it places a stigma on that thing. It's hard to come back to the market again.
Right. Good point there. So now, what's your revenue target for 2019?
$5 million.
Okay. So you're going from roughly, $3.5 million this year to $5 million next year. I know one of your initiatives is your website and then driving more traffic to it. Are there other initiatives that you're planning on running to get you to the $5 million?
Yeah, there are two things that I would say. We've got more as we've sold higher and higher ticket items, valuable artifacts. We've done 3 transactions in the past 2 years that broke $1 million each. And there's more items like that coming to us for representation, not just art, but artifacts, musical artifacts. We have several more of those coming. There's a property we're going to offer, I can't say what it is, in the Q1 that could draw traffic, and that'll be a very high-ticket item. That's not going to make or break the year. Another thing aside from the e-commerce component, which I think will be a good friend of ours once it's launched, is that we are looking at putting together a group of investors to help us scale. And by doing that, we are going to put more money into marketing once that capital comes in to reach a much broader base. We have 15,000 clients we market to, and I think by definition, if you multiply that by 10, in theory, your sales could go up by 10, or at least 5 even. So aggressive marketing, more being able to reach more and more people around the world with what we do. We have an international clientele, and doing it in a very much more effective way, and having fulfillment be much more seamless online. Right.
So, are you planning to reach your clientele through online means? Or are you going to be a bit more old school, do telephone calls, or are you going to be sending them magazines and catalogs in the mail? What's the marketing plan?
The marketing plan, I think the website for us, we've been online since '96, and we've gone through redevelopment numerous times since then. But ever since we launched the first site, it has always brought us opportunities that didn't exist because we're in downtown San Francisco as a brick and mortar, and you can't reach somebody in Scotland unless they happen to walk by the space. So the more and more people find out what we have, the more likely they do call in, and then they add our database, and we can reach them, 3 or 4 times a week if it made sense with what we had to offer. So being able to reach more people is the name of the game. And so when it comes to inbound inquiries that come in for somebody asking for a thing we have, getting on the phone with them and discussing what their goals are, what is it they really want and why. And sometimes those conversations start at a $2,000 interest in turning into a $25,000 transaction, or in some cases over a $100,000 transaction, because you jump on the phone. Once you understand your client, your customer, you can respect their interest in a much more robust way. So I'm a true believer in personal contact, especially if somebody is looking for advice, consultation, somebody to listen to what they really want, and be edifying in a much more nuanced way. And that's not as possible by email swaps.
Right, definitely. Now, you said you have 15,000 clients. How are you marketing past clients? How do you market to them now? Are you email market to them on a regular basis? Are you mailing them?
The way we approach that database, we certainly can reach a lot of people in a few seconds when you do an email blast. So we'll do blasts, periodically when we have something to say or something to offer that might be interesting to that base. It is segmented, so we're not hitting people with things that they may not be interested in. So you're respecting people's interests by communicating with them basically on their affinities. We've been using Salesforce now probably since maybe 4 or 5 years. Salesforce has been a good CRM for us because it allows my staff to reach out to people when something seems to be appropriate based on the data that exists in Salesforce. You wouldn't blindly contact somebody, but if you had something that was appropriate to them, then the sales staff can reach out to one of those 15,000, which is, you're not going to reach 15,000 one at a time, no matter how you slice it.
No way.
But you can reach people that are most likely to be interested in a given thing that is unique or special or appropriate to them. I think we're going to do a lot more of that marketing as we develop a broader subscriber base, and then we will be more likely to reach out more regularly on e-blasts that could evolve into personal contact.
Right. When you do a blast, say you do a blast to 1,000 clients based on their interests and affinities, what kind of response rate do you get? People coming back saying, yeah, I'd like to learn more, out of 1,000 people?
Probably, 2 or 3% maybe, something like that. That's reasonable. I think because what we blast out about is usually a $2,000 thing or above. Often it is something that's kind of exciting or compelling, so people like reading it. We can tell how many people open. So a lot more people, over half usually open our emails, which is a high return, basically a high impact response because of what we have. And so we know that we're exciting our base, I guess, keeping them informed on things they want to and they want to hear about. They don't unsubscribe; they want more. So,
yep, good, fantastic. 2 last questions for you, Theron. Who are your ideal clients, and what's the best way for them to reach you?
Our ideal clients are people that have a passion, as we do, for what we do. There's a certain, in the profile of what we do as representatives of popular iconography, it's not a passive thing. People make a connection, and it sounds a little corny, but there's a little touch of joy when people come in contact with their favorite image of Jimi Hendrix or John Lennon. And so the profile of a good client is somebody that just gets excited about this work without hesitation. Spontaneously, and a person that is affected that way has a financial capability to satisfy that excitement by making a purchase. And that goes with any product, I suppose. It's just our product happens to be what it is. So excitement plus a capability to satisfy that excitement.
Right. Is there a particular income or wealth demographic that would be your ideal client?
There's really no, the demographic is pretty broad, and it is international. It's multi-currency and it's multi-ethnicity. So I'd say somebody doesn't have to be super wealthy to do what we do, or even moderately wealthy. Be simply a reasonable income. And even if they only buy one thing in a given lifetime because it matters to them, that's really the criteria. So the demographic, we have people in their 20s and 30s and 40s that are working in regular jobs that buy from us, and we have clients that are mega wealthy that will over a period of say 3 or 4 years spend $2 million or $3 million with us. Right. And so the demographic is pretty broad because everybody bonds with something here, no matter what. And even if somebody walks through the front door and doesn't have the money to buy, their enthusiasm is sort of a reward in itself. I even have homeless people that come in here that get as excited about a photograph of John Lennon as a CEO of some multinational corporation with the same passion, the same enthusiasm. So,
and what's the best way for them to contact you?
There's ways that people can reach us. One is by phone, of course, 415-441-8840. They can go to our website at www.sfae.com. They can email us at info@sfae.com. We have a presence on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter feed, and so they can find us on social media under San Francisco Art Exchange. And they can walk through our front door at 458 Geary Street in San Francisco, downtown.
Yeah, that might be the best experience to do that.
Definitely fun.
In person. Yeah, definitely going to do that next time I'm in the Bay Area.
Well, if you're a Floyd fan, right now we have the original artwork for Dark Side of the Moon hanging on the wall, and the original Beatles Abbey Road photographs also hanging on the other wall. So come on down.
Cool. All right. Thanks for joining us today, Theron, and sharing how you accelerated your company's high-value sales.
It was fun. Thank you so much for contacting me.
We've been speaking with Theron Kabrich, the CEO and co-founder of San Francisco Art Exchange, about his company's rapid growth. For interviews with other fast-growing, high-value sales companies, or to learn how we can accelerate your firm's high-value sales through automation, visit Eversprint.com.